What's going on, everyone? So, I've talked about the Portland Trailblazers for months now, right? Because they were linked to Jerami Grant for some time, Robert Williams III. Supposedly, based on reports, many teams have inquired about several players on the Portland Trailblazers. Also, recently did a video on CJ McCollum because a lot of people were like, what about CJ? What about CJ McCollum, right? Teams have inquired about CJ McCollum as well. Did a whole video on CJ, so go check out that video if you want that, because I was thinking, okay, CJ McCollum, right? What would you be looking for him to do, right? Kind of solve the scoring option, a guy that can give you that level of consistency. I don't really like his contract. He's making like $33 million this year. It's not great. So I was like, okay, instead of CJ, what about an Anfernee Simons, right? Because Simons kind of gives you the same thing CJ does, but he's also, 25 instead of, CJ, 33, off the top of my head. It just gives you the better youth. He's also only making 25, almost, we'll call it 26 million, because remember, Lakers got to send out more salary than they take back. Question becomes then is, what would it cost to get Anfernee Simons, right? But if you could get him, especially with Sharp over on the Portland Trailblazers, right? He's a guy that can step in the role. They have their guys, right? There was even rumors in the offseason about Anfernee Simons potentially being available and that they may explore trades and options. Problem is, they want 2 firsts for Jerami Grant. He's having a terrible season. I can only imagine what they would want for Simons. Now, if it's reasonable, I actually think that that's just a much better option than CJ. Because, again, it gives you the same idea, gives you the same concept, like a souped-up, charged version of like a D'Angelo Russell, right? Maybe not the playmaker, but, the scorer, better athleticism, right? Gives you a guy, he's not like this like insane athlete, but he is. He's a guy, he's young, he's athletic, he can score. We've seen him score in bunches. He usually has himself games against the Los Angeles Lakers, which are pretty crazy. But you look at kind of this season, his stats, right? Talk about the numbers, right? So 21 games, he's averaging 30 minutes. He started in all 21. He is shooting 40% from the floor on 14.5 attempts, which is down from the last few seasons, last 2 seasons in particular, especially last season, he was shooting 18.2 attempts. He is from 3-point range this season on 7.4 attempts, shooting 32.3%, which is not good by any stretch of the imagination. Although, again, his attempts are down. Last season, he took 8.8. The previous season, he took 9.1. And then even in 2021-22, he took 7.8 and shot 40%. He is a career 38.2% three-point shooter. The last 3 seasons, he shot 40%. Really, last 4 seasons, he shot 40% or 38% or better, right? That's good. It's what you want to see, guy like that. Again, big difference playing alongside like Jerami Grant, Ayton, and LeBron James, Anthony Davis. Big difference, right? The quality of looks that he's going to get, the quality of shots that he's going to get. Got to imagine this is a guy on volume, is a career 38% three-point shooter. So even if he just gets back to his career average, which is 38%, still really good on 8-9 attempts per game. He's shooting 48.3% from 2-point range on 7.1 attempts per game. He has an EFG of 48.4%, which is the second worst of his career. This is worse since his sophomore season, his second season in the league. He is shooting 90% from the foul line, which is really good. He's averaging 3 rebounds, 4.4 assists, a steal, and will be nice to round up half a block. He's averaging 16.5 points, which his numbers are down this season, but the last 2 seasons, he averaged 22.6 points, 21.1 points, and then 17.3 to kind of round out the last 4 years. His efficiency is down, but he's still giving you 16.5 points. You got to imagine if his efficiency gets back up, he's probably a 18 to 20 point a game guy. Again, slotted alongside LeBron James, slotted alongside Anthony Davis. That could go pretty well. Problem is the games played. Right, he's not a guy that plays 82 games a season. So last season he played 46 games, played 62 games, 57 games, 64 games, 70 games, and 20 games, which was his rookie season. The only time he's ever played 70 or more games is his second season in which he played 70. So he is averaging around about 60 games a season, and that's probably being nice. Probably me rounding it up, right? But he is making $25 million this season. He makes $27 million next season, and then he's an expiry contract. So I just, if you could argue CJ because he's experienced, he's a vet, he's been to a conference finals, right? He's familiar, and even slot alongside like Brandon Ingram and Zion, he was still a 20-point-a-game guy, right? He's basically a 20-point-a-game career guy, where Simons, okay, he's got to get the shot attempt stuff, but again, I think if he gets back to that efficiency, him and kind of the Austin Reeves role, still not my ideal favorite target. I just like his age, his youth, because he's young, 25, right? Better athletic. Defensively, he's actually had worse defensive seasons than D'Lo, so he doesn't solve the defensive issues, right? To me, I don't know if the assets would be worth it, right? Like, what do you have to give up? If you have to give up like multiple firsts for him, but to like get like, if break glass in case of emergency, I don't hate it. I don't hate the idea, especially if you can get like a Robert Williams III, right? If you could get him to get a Time Lord, get a Simons in a trade, and that's like, let's call it $40 million, right? I think it's like 39, but let's call it $40 million, because remember, Lakers got to send out more money than they take back. I think that is arguably better, and then you'd still have a couple tradable assets to then maybe go get like a Dorian Finney-Smith, and then you got like, the problem is like, again, same thing I said with CJ, right? If you go get Simons, you have to trade Austin Reeves, because Austin Reeves and Anfernee Simons in the same backcourt is, again, a complete redundancy and a defensive liability. So, again, like, that would not be ideal. Yes, Portland supposedly is listening to offers. It doesn't mean that they'll actually trade him, but they're listening to offers for Simons. Cool, right? It means that you at least pick up the phone, do due diligence, like, hey, what are you looking for? What do you want? What does it take to get this done? Kind of just, talk through it. You don't have to pull the trigger. You don't have to do anything, but kind of just to get an idea. Cool. But my thing is that, like, the Lakers would have to be willing to trade Austin Reeves, right? Because, like, let's say, okay, again, you need to get to $40 million, right? Maybe you even have to trade Austin Reeves to get Simons, which, again, I'm not against, but, it's just, like, let's say, ideally, let's say you do trade Reeves. Although I would try to keep Reeves, because it's just like, again, it boils down to what Simons wants to say. I don't want to keep Reeves to keep him. I want to keep Reeves to trade him to go get something else. But let's say you had to trade Reeves. Let's say you do Reeves and D'Lo for Simons and Time Lord, right? And then, give up a first, which I don't know if I would do that with Reeves, but let's just say to save face, right? A protected first, right? Still have Rui, still have Gabe Vincent. So there's another $28 million, right? You still have Jared Vanderbilt, which gets you another, $38 million. Max Christie, if you needed to, would get you to $46 million, right? Like, you could still get to nearly another $50 million in tradable salaries, right? So to me, I would then you got to get a point of attack guard, in my opinion. Because Simons is more of a two guard. You go get Dennis Schroeder and Dorian Finney-Smith and go like Schroeder, Simons, Dorian Finney-Smith, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and then get because that'd be $35 million, so you could do that. Yeah, get a Day'Ron Sharpe in the trade too, right? Like, could you do that trade? So could you go get Simons? Well, I guess you don't need Day'Ron Sharpe because you have Time Lord, although my concern would be just the injury issues with Time Lord, all right? And Day'Ron Sharpe, 23, gives you a development guy, but let's just say Dennis Schroeder, Dorian Finney-Smith, right? So that, again, is, say, Gabe Vincent and Rui Hachimura. Boom, there you go. Easy peasy. All right, get that trade done. I think you'd have to throw in like a Jalen Hood-Schifino, but fine, do that. And then you get, Simons, Time Lord, Dennis Schroeder, Dorian Finney-Smith. Literally, your five could be Schroeder, Simons, Dorian Finney-Smith, LeBron James, Anthony Davis. You have Time Lord as your backup. Again, I'd still kind of maybe probably get Day'Ron Sharpe just because the history that Robert Williams has. That way, if it doesn't happen, and again, it's just you're adding another $5 million to get it done, $35 million. So whatever you got to do to get there, add a Jared Vanderbilt, right? Because at that point, you got Dorian Finney-Smith, you got the pieces that you need, right? Do that. I don't hate that, right? Again, just kind of a thought. Like, it kind of sparked because we were talking about CJ McCollum. I had a lot of people like, what about CJ? What about CJ? What about CJ? And I was like, okay, well, Anfernee Simons is kind of like a younger CJ McCollum, right? Kind of gives you the same idea. It's the same concept, right? Again, I think that there's an argument because CJ McCollum is just, he's more experienced. He's comfortable in that role. Probably is best as like your third guy, right? I do think that makes sense there, but it's just Simons is just younger, cheaper. Even if you were just to get Simons, again, depending on what the cost is, you're talking $25 million. You could do whatever, Rui and Max Christie or something like that. Boom, there you go, easy trade. And then you still have everything else that you need to trade to go make that other move A, B, C, D, whatever, right? It's just kind of my thoughts. But, as always, this is a discussion. I pass a question on you. Let me know yours down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you like the idea of Anfernee Simons? Do you think, no, stay as far away from Anfernee Simons, right? Injury issues. I mean, everybody, look at all the trade options. They all have injury issues. They all only play like 66 games, right? Like, there's none of these guys that we're trading for play 80 games anymore, right? It's just not the league we're in, unfortunately. But, again, how do you feel? Whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. Let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. We enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.